mine is looking to develop this semi-derelict defunct basement building into a unit and a new business, and he just asked me to do a very rough mock-up of what it would be like with various walls in place and just the outline of the thing, and just so that he can then prepare a presentation for the landlord, I guess. So I said, yeah, no problem. I popped down there a week or so ago with my and took some 360 pictures, only about half a dozen. It was really dark, and I've just opened up the first image, and this started off wrong. Just go back. This started off really dark. Exposure was somewhere like down there, even with bracketing the images. I mean, it's not, I mean, as long as you can see what it is that I'm trying to achieve, it's not particularly imperative that this is perfect by any means. It literally, he just wants the walls in place so that he can sort of get an idea of what the space will look like. So I said, yep, no problem. But as ever, it turns into a slightly bigger job than you think it's going to be, because I don't really just want to do something completely basic, but let's just see how it turns out. So what I'm in Lightroom Classic, and I've just messed around with the lights just now, and I'm just about ready to edit the image in Photoshop, where I'll put the extra layers in and put the walls in. So this area, if you can see this area where my mouse is swirling around on the left, that's an open area that's going to stay sort of semi-derelict. It has its own access anyway. This door here in the middle is going to be the access to this unit, and there's another access point at the other end, which I'm going to block off in a minute. So first thing I'm going to do is take this image, which I've already made into a panorama in Lightroom, and edit it in Photoshop. So let's just see. There we go. Just expand this up to page size, otherwise I tend to be clicking on what's in behind it. So it's important to remember the 360 pictures require 8-bit, and when I open up images in Photoshop, for some reason the 360 images come in as 16-bit. Now if I was to render that as a 3D, you'd see all sorts of colour abnormalities, and it would look really badly rendered and fuzzy. So I need to knock this back down. First thing to do is knock that down and make sure that you're on 8-bit. So there's my image. That's still a flat image. It's not going to move around anywhere. So I need to render that as a 3D. So I go up to 3D and then spherical panorama and new panorama layer. My PC's had a lot of programs open on it over the last couple of days, and I think quite a lot are still open. So I'm hoping that I won't have any rendering problems. It can be sometimes, it can, this really shows up badly, and it's got quite a lot of RAM in this computer and capacity, but this is quite intensive stuff. So there you go, there's a door down there. You can just see a beam of light underneath the door that leads out into an outer corridor. So I need to block off this end. That's going to be a wall there. There's going to be a wall all the way along here, and that area there will stay as it is until it gets later developed by somebody else and has its own access. And then working this around, this is going to be the door with the access into this room, and that area there is where all the activities are going to go on. So this is like a training and reception area, and that's the activity room through there. So I just need to develop that. Let's just bring this around. Okay, so what I'm going to do first, I think, is build a new wall just to cover that area. So in Photoshop, very quick, I'm just going to create a new layer and use the lasso tool, and just very roughly go from the top of that wall to pretty much about there, I'd have thought, and straight down, and follow the line of that back. So I'm not particularly worried, so long as it looks reasonable. I'm cool. I don't think I want a red wall in there, but let's just colour it in anyway. Doesn't really matter what colour, because what I'm going to go and do is double click on the layer 1, and I'm going to do a gradient overlay, which will immediately get rid of that background color. Double click on the colors I want, and let's bring that color marker over onto this screen. So probably just a mushy grey, just do it white, I think, and we'll make this one actually literally just off white, so it's like a mushy grey colour all the way through. That's cool, and it looks a bit Mickey Mouse like that, so I think what I'll do is I'll add some texture in there as well. I haven't got many textures in the library, but yeah, water, let's have a look. Maybe grass. No, too big. Ah, that's right. That's right. I'll use that one. Okay, just to give it a little bit of an appearance of what we're doing. Yeah, that's fine. I'm happy with that. Okay, so that's my first wall. Now, if I try and move my 3D render, you'll find that, let's just click off that marquee. If I try and move my 3D render, you'll see that my new wall will stay exactly where it is, which is a bit of a pest. So what I need to do is I need to right click on that layer and merge it down onto my 3D, go into my spherical map, and now it will actually move as I need it to move. So the next one is to do this section here. I might do that in two sections, because if you can see, even if I zoom out, the result will be the same. The angle of the frame of the picture isn't deep enough to take in the top of where I want that wall to be and the bottom of where I want that wall to be. So I think what I'm going to do is yeah, I haven't got a choice really. I think I'll just do the best I can. I think I'll get the bottom in and line it up with the bottom of this wall here, and then redo the top as I need to. So again, I need to go and create a new layer, and on that layer use the marquee tool or lasso tool, what am I on about. I'll take the edge of that first wall that I've just made and the top edge there, and then follow this beam line going all the way up. That will take me up to around about there, and that will be in line with this brickwork roughly. Okay, that'll do. Take it down the line of the brick, overlap it slightly if I need to, down to the bottom of it, and then back up and join it back up again. So let's fill that with colour. If you don't fill it with colour, you won't be able to do a gradient overlay. And double click on the layer, and I think what we did a gradient overlay, we did, and then we added the texture. Good. And I think yeah, I think I'd like to just on that gradient overlay, just, in fact that should be there or there. That's about right. Okay, so I'm messing around. Let's take it off the marquee tool, and again, if I was to move this image right now, that would stay where it is. So I'm just going to merge that layer 1 back down onto my 3D layer. I'm doing this quite slowly because as I say, this is quite CPU intensive. So let's go back into there, and hopefully if I don't have any rendering issues, there's my two walls. And the benefit of doing this, although it does look fairly fake, and there's the top that obviously was outside of the frame, which I have to redo, but the benefit of doing this is that rather than building a structure from scratch, I've got a structure there, and I can use the existing structure as guides to build in what I need to do. So I think what we'll do next, we'll just put the back wall in. And I've got ceiling pipes, they're not going to be changed really, so there's really no point in going all the way up to the top of there, so I will just chop a hole around them so that they don't look fake as if they're disappearing into something. So again, I'm just going to create a new layer, and again I'm going to use the what's it called? I don't know why it keeps on popping up with those polyagonal lasso tool. We'll just call it lasso tool. What's the difference? Right, let's just like zoom that into there, take it across to the door, up and around the door. There's no point in having to cut that out afterwards if I don't need to. Take it to that corner, up that side. In fact, it's probably not deep enough. It needs to go to there, that point there. Then up, and I'll just do a square, I think, around there. And up, and across, and join it back up to there. And same difference again, fill it in. There we go. And double click on the layer and do my gradient overlay. It's going to be dark at the top, isn't it? Okay. And texture. Quite happy with that. That'll do. Kaplunk. Click off that and merge that down. It's taking its time doing the rendering. Come on, come on. Okay, so there's that. So now we've got the end. And that wall. And that. Okay, so I think what we need to do is tidy up everything else. So that's actually quite dark in that corner, but it doesn't really matter. As I say, it's a render. I'm not particularly worried about any of this. Let's just zoom that down so I can still see that edge. Right, I'll do another layer. And I'll choose that edge to that edge. Run it up the side of that. I may as well come back down to that point. Makes no odds. Fuck that one up. Excuse my language. There we go. Right, so layer one, and let's colour that one in. Double click and gradient overlay. I think what we'll do, so I'll make sure I get the colours right. I'm just going to choose a colour from here. The darker colour. Yeah, darker again. Okay. And I think what we need to do now is just move that like that. I don't know why I'm fussing around with it, to be honest, but still. Click away from that. Actually, it's two separate panels, so that looks actually fine. Oh. Let's put that back and merge it down. Come on, come on. I won't go on from here. You can see what I'm doing, and I'll just turn this around now. You can see where it's going to go. So I'm going to continue. I have to finish off those areas there. Obviously, that was outside of the view, so just like finish those off. But you can see that is going to work out quite nicely. It will all look like a nice image by the time I finish with it. So I will continue with that and then come back and just do a short recap video just to show you how it's all turned out. Okay, I hope that's, I mean, it's not so much an instructional video as it is just an example of what's possible. So anyway, until next time.